This one is the Berenstain Bears don't pollute anymore.
I can see really good.
You can see really good? When Bear Country's cubs learn pollution's a fact, they help grown-ups learn to clean up their act. That's funny. Well, looky here, said Papa Bear as he opened the evening news. Your friend Professor Actual Factual got his picture in the paper. Oh, said Papa and Sister Bear, coming to see. There's a big story, too, said Papa, and a headline. My goodness, said Mama Bear. What's it about? Leading scientist claims Bear Country is in serious trouble, he said, reading the headline. What sort of trouble? Asked Sister. Papa, who was reading the news story to himself, didn't answer. What sort of trouble? Said Mama, repeating Sister's question. Oh, you know how professors are, he said. Actual Factual's making a big fuss about pollution. Well, I know Professor Actual Factual is, said Mama, and I think she's quite sensible. So do I, said Sister. Me too, agreed Brother. Oh, he's a great guy, all right, said Papa. He's dug up the terrific dinosaur bones, and he runs great museum. But I happen to think he's gone a little overboard with this pollution thing. I'm as much against pollution as the next fellow, he continued. I don't think a couple of candy wrappers and drinking cups along the side of the road is the end of the world. Besides, Bear Country is in great shape. Come on, I'll show you. He opened the door and led the family onto the front step. You see, Bear Country is not only in good shape, it's downright beautiful. The rolling hills, the forests, the lakes, and the streams, and just look at that sunset. It's beautiful, all right, agreed Brother, but our science book says that some of these colors are caused by chemicals in the air that shouldn't be there. Fiffle, said Papa. Say you aren't supposed to be doing homework? Sister, who had just about completed her homework, finished quickly, but Brother Bear was still stuck. Teacher Bob had asked him to do a report on endangered species. The book had been taken out of the school library. The books that had been taken out of the school library weren't very helpful. Of course, the kind of shape Bear Country was in wasn't as simple as Papa made it seem. How Bear Country looked dependent on your point of view. It looked fine from the Bears family front step, but it looked even better if you had a bird's eye view of flying high above the earth. But if you had a squirrel's eye view and you were finding fewer and fewer acorns because too many trees were being cut down, Bear Country didn't look so fine. If you had a duck's eye view, you might see the professor was right about the pollution, and you had to do a fish eye view, you might think that things were downright awful. You can see that's from the soda cans and the garbage, and the trees are getting cut down. The next day, Brother decided to visit the museum to ask Professor Actual Factual to help him with his endangered species report. Sister Bear went with him. Professor Actual Factual was very cheerful and friendly and bubbly over ideas and projects when the cubs visited, but this time he looked worried and glum. He was cheered up a bit when he saw them, but Brother told him the purpose for the visit was to get a report on endangered species. He said something very surprising. I'll tell you the endangered species. Do your homework report on us. We don't understand, they said. It's very simple, explained the professor. We bears and all other creatures need certain things to survive. Clean air to breathe, pure water to drink, and good soil to grow food in. We don't do something about pollution, we're going to become endangered species. Come on, he said. You'll understand soon enough. He led them out to where Actual Factual Mobile was parked. It was kind of a special van with all kinds of science gear in it. Then the professor took the brother and sister on Bear Country tour where they wouldn't soon forget. They went past Grizzly Gus's garage where they saw oil leaking into a stream, getting on a duck and killing some fish. They went past the old box factory where they saw ugly black smoke pouring out in the air. They scuba dived into Great Bear Lake where they saw everything from soda cans to rusty old bed springs, and worse, they saw fish tangled in plastic soda can holder. They cut it loose, but they couldn't rescue all the fish from the plastic holders carelessly thrown away. That is no good. They drove through the forest and they saw the great many trees that had been cut down, and that not only many new trees had been planted, not very many new trees had been planted to replace them. You might speak to your dad about that, said Professor. He and his fellow wood bears could help with that problem. I think I see what you mean about becoming an endangered species, said Brother when he got back to the museum. Yes, agreed Sister, but what are we going to do about it? Did that evening news story do much good? Asked Brother. Not much, said the professor. The idea of Bear Country is in serious trouble because of pollution seems to be hard to get across. To grown-ups maybe, said Sister, but we understand all of our cub friends will too, because we're the ones who have to live on a messed up, polluted earth when we grow up. Right? That's why we pick up cans and recycle, and we don't litter. Professor, said Brother, how does this sound? Do you come to our school and explain all about pollution to the cubs of Bear Country? Maybe we can do something about it. Actual Factual is impressed. I'll give Teacher Bob a call right away and arrange it, he said. And that's when it happened. The cubs were all eyes and ears. Actual Factual told them about the trouble at Bear Country was getting into. First, he taught them 3 important new words: ecology, conservation, and recycle. The way the professor explained it, ecology means how the creatures and the plants and the earth itself work together. Conservation means not wasting the valuable things on earth like water, oil, wood, and metal. And recycle means finding ways to use some of those valuable things over and over. The cubs learned quite a lot from Actual Factual, and they had some of their own ideas too. How about recycling programs, suggested one cub. Maybe the newspaper to start, and another, then if it works, cans and bottles too. Tim Honeypot said he'd like to talk to his dad, Mayor Honeypot, about it. Brother Bear remarked Grizzly Gus's garage. You shouldn't be allowed to spill oil in the streams and kill fish, he said. Babs Bruno, whose dad was the chief police, said, I'll talk to my dad if there isn't a law against it. There ought to be. Even Too Tall helped with an idea. His uncle owns the Super Duper market. He could put a bag return plan for reusing bags. Excellent suggestion, said the professor. And if some folks don't want to cooperate, added Too Tall, me and the gang, we lean on them a little. The bag return is fine, Too Tall, said Teacher Bob, but no leaning. Cousin Freddie had the best idea of all. Let's start a club to stop pollution. Call it the Earth Savers Club. We'll make posters and bumper stickers and have cleanups and marches and parades, but there will still be a problem of Papa and his fellow wood bears. That evening, Brother and Sister told Mama and Papa about the Earth Savers Club and all about the plans for stopping pollution. Mama was very impressed. Papa was too. As I said before, I'm just as much against this pollution as the next fellow. But when it comes to cubs, asked him to be sure that he would and his fellow wood bears plant a new tree for everyone they cut down. He got a little grumpy. He grummed. It's hard enough cutting trees down without having to plant them as well. Besides, what's all the fuss about? They're just trees. My dear, said Mama, these cubs are right. The forest is a living thing and deserves to be respected. Papa was about to say piffle, but then thought better of it. The problem of conserving the forest must have been in his own mind, because that night he had a dream. In his dream was walking towards the forest to cut wood, when the trees began to sway and wave their branches. Then the branches turned, reaching, grasping arms. Then the tree climbed out of the earth onto the roots and chased him. Help! Cried terrified Papa in his sleep. The trees, they're coming after me! He woke up in cold sweat. Having a nightmare? Asked Mama. It must have been something I ate, he said. Or something you heard, perhaps, she said, about trees. Piffle, he said, and turned around to go back to sleep. But it wasn't going to be easy. The cubs didn't expect anyone to solve Bear Country's pollution problems, but the Earth Savers Club made it a good start. The mayor declared a special holiday called Earth Savers Day, and the cubs had a big parade. Brother and sister marched at the head with the professor actual factual. There were many grown-ups at the parade too, including Mama and Papa Bear, who carried the sign that did not say piffle. A good woods bear plants trees for every single one he cuts. No ifs, ands, or buts. Or no ifs, ands, no maybes, or buts. The end.
Cuts?
Or buts.